Today we are talking about Bethesda, Maryland, the pros and the cons, the good and the bad, and everything in between. Hey guys, James Reed with TTR Sotheby's International Realty here, covering DC, Northern Virginia, and the Maryland suburbs, including Bethesda. Now this video is for you if you're looking to relocate to the DC area and you want to be on the Maryland side. This video is for you if you're looking for more information about Bethesda, Maryland in general. We're going to cover why people love living in Bethesda and reasons why people might not want to move to Bethesda, Maryland. And we're going to get started right now. All right, getting started with our first pro on the list is Bethesda's proximity to DC. It doesn't get any closer without being in DC proper. As you can see here on the map, it immediately borders DC on the northwest section of town. And if you do not want to be in DC proper and you want to be close by, Bethesda is as close as it gets. Now, that bleeds right into our next pro on the list, which is public transportation. Bethesda is home to 3 metro rail stations off the Red Line. So you have immediate access to the metro system and you can get downtown fairly quickly, and in more cases than not, faster than driving. If you're driving downtown for work, you can expect 20 to 30, maybe 45 minutes, depending upon the day, with traffic. And traffic has increased significantly in the last year as COVID restrictions have eased. But there is also an extensive metro bus network here, as well as the Montgomery County bus system that is available to Bethesda, because Bethesda is in Montgomery County, Maryland. So public transportation is a great resource in Bethesda. All right, our next pro on the list is weather. It is a 4-season area here in Bethesda, Maryland. You will enjoy snow in the winter. You will enjoy a hot summer, if that is your thing. You have amazing spring here. We have cherry blossoms that are all throughout Bethesda, not just in the tidal basin in DC. And if you enjoy the fall, there's just a ton of fall festivals, a lot of outdoor activities. The weather here is as great as it can be with 4 seasons. All right, our fourth pro on the list is the school system in Bethesda, Maryland. It is home to 3 very highly ranked high schools in the state, as well as they fare well nationally in the rankings as well. And there are a multitude of highly ranked elementary schools. There is a big draw for families to move into Bethesda to get their kids in the elementary school so they can be part of that high school pyramid that is very competitive. So a little bit of a con is you will see some possible overcrowding in elementary schools here with so many families moving into those schools so they can get their kids in those school pyramids. But as part of Montgomery County schools, they're very highly ranked, very well educated, and very competitive. Hey guys, if you're finding this content valuable in any way, shape, or form, do me a favor, hit the like button if you will. That is the single greatest thing you can do to tell YouTube you like this content and to help them push it out to other people just like you. All right, our next pro on the list is the job market in Bethesda. There is a ton of opportunity in the job market in Bethesda. It is home to 2 Fortune 500 companies, which are Lockheed Martin and Marriott. Marriott owns Ritz-Carlton and a number of other hotel properties you've probably seen before. It is also home to 5 federal agencies, including the National Institutes of Health, NIH, and other large national retailers like Total Wine & More, and a few other big companies in the DC area that you might not be as familiar with. So if you're looking for job security and opportunity, Bethesda, Maryland has a ton of that for you. All right, on to our next pro on the list, which is one of everyone's favorite, is shopping and dining. There is a lot of that available in Bethesda. You've got Bethesda Row, downtown Bethesda, as well as large shopping malls and everything in between. You can easily get to your favorite boutiques as well as your national chain stores. Bethesda Row is one of the more popular locations because it has outdoor access, so you can walk to a lot of your shops and restaurants very easily, including, yes, an Apple store is there. There are corridors that are closed down to vehicle traffic that started during COVID and were so popular they stayed, so a lot of restaurants have outdoor dining capacity that they did not have before. And if you're looking to have just a great day out and spend your money, you can easily do that in Bethesda. All right, the last pro on our list today are parks and recs in Bethesda, Maryland. Bethesda is part of Montgomery County, so we're going to piggyback a little bit off that system for you here. Now, if you have kids, there are a ton of summer camps available to you. You can be booked out every week during the summer if you wish. There are outdoor pools in Bethesda as well as the surrounding county that you have access to, as well as a new aquatic center opening up later this year. There are a ton of bike lanes if you are a cyclist. I may not be your biggest fan, but there are a ton of them for you. So you can ride on-road or off-road, and that is only growing here. There are a lot of outdoor parks and playgrounds available to you. If you are a fit and active person or you want to be a fit and active person, you can easily do that in Bethesda. All right, getting to the negatives on the list. The biggest one is the cost of living in Bethesda. Make no mistake about it, it is not cheap to live in Bethesda. It is 88% more expensive on average to live there than it is the average in the United States. Housing is the biggest driver of that as well. The median price of a home in the state of Maryland for a single-family home in the last 12 months was about $362,000. In Bethesda, you're not going to find that. The median price of a single-family home was $1.4 million. Now that has a mix of new construction as well as older houses that have been expanded and renovated upon. And there is also condos and townhouses in Bethesda as well, and you can see those numbers here. But in my opinion, I think housing is only going to increase as time goes on, and I've covered this in other videos, but the cost of waiting, in my opinion, is greater than the cost of moving forward now if you can afford to do so. All right, the next negative on our list is taxes, and they are going to be high in Bethesda. We'll get into that. So in the state of Maryland, there are county tax rates in addition to the state and the federal rate. Montgomery County's tax rate is at 3.2%, which is the highest county tax rate in the state of Maryland. Property taxes, those are going to be going up. They were already high as they were because they're assessed on the property values, which we discussed are very high. And Montgomery County, they voted for a 10% tax increase on property taxes recently. That did not pass, but it came in at 4.7%, which was their compromise. So know that taxes are going to be high in Bethesda. That's some of the highest in the entire DC area, and I would always expect them to be a leader in that. All right, the next con on our list, and I put it as a con because people aren't typically used to it until they move here, is the density of housing. It is a very dense area to live in Bethesda. There is very few large new developments. There was one recently, which we did cover. I'll put the video up here for you. But just know that you are not going to have a ton of space. You're not going to have a lot of acreage where you're not going to see your neighbors in Bethesda. That's few and far in between. And those houses, those properties are super expensive. Now, there are a lot of condos, a lot of townhouses. There are single family homes, usually a quarter-acre lot or less. And if you want to do a new construction property, more likely than not, you're going to consider a teardown in Bethesda. So just know that it's very dense here. You're very tight, very close together. And if that's something that you are not comfortable with, we can talk about other areas for you, but you're not going to find that in Bethesda. All right, our last con on the list, and I'll try not to spend too much time on this because it's going to be pretty obvious if you've seen any of my other videos about DC as a whole, is traffic. DC has some of the worst traffic in the country. Bethesda is no exception to that. At rush hour, which starts around 3 o'clock here, it gets pretty bad. You're going to have to look on Google Maps and plan your day and know that whatever number it's telling you, you're going to have to add to that. So use public transportation if you can, walk if you can. If you have to drive, be patient. Traffic is what it is here. Well, I hope that information was helpful for you in terms of considering Bethesda, Maryland as a place to live or relocate to. Now, if you have any questions about your specific situation, if you're considering Bethesda or another area of the DC region, feel free to reach out to me directly. My contact information is in the description box below. And until next time, I hope to see you around town.